let's imagine someone comes to you and says, I've got a couple hundred contacts in my CRM for my previous job. I'm calling through them, but it feels random and inefficient. I'm not sure who to prioritize or what to say. What's the first thing that you tell them to do?
Go, all right, what are we trying to achieve here? What's the objective? How you asked it is almost exactly how people go about it. Feels like you show up at a construction site with a bunch of wood and a couple screws and a hammer and nails and whatnot, and you go, all right, I'm going to build this thing. And so you start putting some stuff together,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go, well, wait a second, maybe I should do it like this. Well, maybe I should do it like that. And, then it gets cold, and you go, okay, well, now I'm cold. You go, just stop. What I'd rather work from is a plan, a blueprint. So so I want to know what I'm trying to accomplish, and I get that it seems like, well, why do we even want to go there given such a simple question? Well, because the way you go about it is based on what it is you want to build. And I would
Mm-hmm.
even go further and go, well, why are you building this in the first place? Why are you doing this? Over the weekend, I had a conversation, or a text conversation, with an old friend of mine. I text the guy and go, hey man, thought of you today. What's going on? Because last time, which was maybe, I don't know, it was a while back. I've touched base with him a couple times over the past, decades. I had 4 times over the decades, and I've kind of seen what's going on and with them, and every once in a while I want to check in. Anyway, he goes, "Oh man, I quit my job that I've been doing for the last 12 years, and because of this situation." And the information that he gave me was way too much information. Like things like, why are you even concerned with this? How you're looking
Mm-hmm.
at it? And he goes, I took he decided to sell cars. He's like, okay, I'm 62 years old, and I'm with all these guys now selling cars. They're in they're 20, 22, 24 years old, and can't make any money at it. I don't really want to do it, but it's I need a job, and I'm doing this, and I'm only going to do it for a while. And so before, when I was talking to him, he's talking about getting involved in more of a financial thing, insurance and financial planning and all that kind of thing, which I thought, okay, well, and of course, how he's telling me about it then too was confused. But I go, well, what happened to this that financial thing and insurance thing you were doing? When I put my mind to it, it works. And I'm thinking, okay, well, why don't you put your mind to that and don't go sell cars? Why are
Mm-hmm.
you doing this to yourself? And he goes, I keep asking myself the same thing, and why am I doing it? I'm getting too old, and maybe I should just go on Social Security. It's like, just stop. So this is how people typically, from what I've seen, this is how they think of it. They're all over the board. They don't really know what to do. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're they're hammering stuff together based on no real plan. So this is exactly why I go, well, just stop for a second. What if you created a little blueprint of the life you wanted to build? Doesn't have to be the forever plan. At least just here's what I want to build, and then we go, all right. So we go there to go, all right. Imagine yourself there, and you're enjoying it, and you're looking around. And I always go, look. I always suggest, look around. What are the things? What what are the things that you're surrounded by? And it's like cups and umbrellas, and what is it?
Mm-hmm.
And then how does it feel? And what does it feel like to have the sun on your back, and feel comfortable outside in December? What does it feel? What's out front? What are you driving? All these things. And then go, okay, then you look back toward today and go, all right, how did I get here? Not from today looking into the future, but from the future looking back. Scientists call it future retrospection. You go to the future and look back and go, how did I get here? And and often what you're doing isn't the path. You go, okay, it's got to be something different. So then when you're looking for things, they have to fit that path. They have to be on that path. So I know this is a long, long drawn out answer to your question, but this is exactly what everybody misses. And I think why they get to the point where my friend, he's at this point, and I started seeing it about 10 years ago, when people hit, I don't know, they're like hit 50, and all of a sudden they're just tired of doing what they're doing. And, they're like, "Man, I'm just going to gut it out." Another buddy of mine just retired the other day. He had gone off, and he's been an executive at a big global company for the last couple decades, and he just got to the point where like he said, you know, I've got 2 years left. I'm just going to go in and I'll do my work, but don't ask me to go above. And I thought, hold on a second, you're getting paid really well. Now you're sort of cheating it. It's not their fault you don't know what you're doing, but
Hmm.
this is what people do. I've only got 2 years left. Ah, maybe we should get, you know, this is hold on, man. We're not dead yet. You know, hold
Yeah.
on. What is it that you want? And really go deep into that. I literally draw a picture, you know, with the things that I want, the experiences I want. And now I know that, and then I go, well, how much does that cost? And how much time, how much free time, downtime do I need to do the things? Go on, you know, take the sailboat out, go on trips with my kids, you know, do all these things. Because if you just focus on the money and don't focus on the also building in time, then you sort of come to resent the job because it's taking away from things that you really want to do, and you're not sure what to do in the first place. So it's not the job's fault. You know, hold
Hmm.
on. So anyway, so when people ask this, like, okay, I just changed jobs and I've got all these contacts, what do I do? And that's where I go, well, what do you want to do? And they almost never know. People often never know. They don't know what they want to do. They're not sure. And so that's why I go, look, just let's go into the future. Let's just paint. Let's just draw something that you want to build. You can always build. You can stop and you can pivot and build something different at any time. You can modify your blueprint. You can build this thing and then go build a different something. That's
Hmm.
okay. But what are we building? Why are we doing anything? Why do anything? So these contacts that you have from your old job that you want to roll into whatever you're doing next, it has to, that's not the question yet. The question is, what do I want to achieve? And then when I look back, I go, okay, I've got these contacts. How can that do that?
Hmm.
Who are the ones that I want to contact first? And what do I want to say to them? I go about it that way. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
That does. You've gone through the process and you've isolated out the types of contacts that you want to be connecting with in order
Hmm.
to execute on that blueprint. You just contact them all, or do you go through some sort of process to rank them? What does that
Yeah.
look like?
Well, yeah. So when I look at them, I always rank contacts A, B, C. A are the ones I think, you know, they're my top targets. C's are not my top targets. B's I'm just not sure about. And so so in this case, I would, you know, I haven't talked to him about this yet. So I don't know really I guess I could rank them at this point. Yeah, I would, because I go, well, you know, this set of, I've got 200 contacts, these 15 I want to get a hold of right away. And so I'd probably call them A's. The rest I'll sort out later. You know, or, you know, because I can go through, I can look at my list and quick, like I'd put them in a CRM.
Hmm.
And if I'm going to, by the way, if I'm going to import them into a CRM, what I'm going to do is have an Excel spreadsheet, and it's easy to go in Excel and just go A, B, 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 C, 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 and copy it all down. I've got
Hmm.
200 imported. It's all got the code. I go, show me my A's. I hit those, and I contact them and go, hey, you know, I started something new. You thought you might find it interesting. I'm not at this point typically trying to sell them. I just want to let them know. You know,
Hmm.
I don't want to come at them out of left field. I don't want to do that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't want to do that. I don't want people to do that to me. I get that done to me. You know, hey, you know, hey, now I'm selling insurance, or hey, I'm in the financial planning business. Yeah, okay. And last week you were what? You know, you were selling Matco tools. You know, this doesn't
Yeah.
make so it's best just to say, hey, just want to let you know, here's a link to some of the things we do. You know, hope you're doing well. You know, let's catch up sometime. You know, something like that. Uh, but I don't go after the jugular just yet. Uh,
Hmm.
um, I'm and maybe what I would do though is so, because I said I wouldn't go after the jugular yet. Okay, well, if I were you and asking, I go, well, what? Okay, where do you get your business then right away? Because I'm after business and I want it to come
Hmm.
from that network somehow, or I want to build the network that now helps me expand this new business that I'm in. So I would say something like, so even if I'm after you as a client, I wouldn't do that. I'd go, hey, you know, if you know, who do you know who might be interested in talking about this? And
Hmm.
even though I'm after you, I'm not asking you, because that's your fear. So I'm going
Right.
to ask you about this. I go, hey, you know, who do you know that might? that might be interested in something like this. And and so if hopefully they go, well, I might be. Oh, okay. Well, we can talk about that, as if I didn't expect it. It's what I
Mhm.
wanted. Uh, so I'd usually go, hey, who might like who's one person that might be interested. I mean, that's kind of pushing it at first too, but especially if you haven't connected with them for a while.
Mhm.
So hopefully, before you launch into this new thing, you've been in contact with them already about what it is you have been doing,
Mhm.
and that you already have some credibility. And it's okay to switch ponies, meaning to change careers, because they might have sensed that that was going to happen, or um, that it happens. And if
Mhm.
you're a good person that they appreciate in whatever you have been doing, if you switch to something, they're okay. They're okay. You know I've like to when you find people that are really good that fit with you, and it's easy to do business with them, and the business that they provide is valuable to you. It's if it makes sense wherever they go, you do want to go with them. And sometimes
Mhm.
people won't contact you because they go, I a gal that I've worked with for years at a bank who I really appreciated. I would go in and she knows what I want. She can read my mind. Like, I bet you're here for this. I am. I thought you probably would be. I had the file up already. Re- or they go, hey, I sent the documents. I've already filled it in. Just need your signature.
Mhm.
I love that. Don't make me fail. So don't make me figure out your paperwork, because I've
Mhm.
never seen it before. And it's like, I'll do it later. And she knows, she's so good. But she went off to a different bank, and I wasn't necessarily married to the bank that she was at. I just really liked her.
Mhm.
And I liked some of the other people too. And she went off to a different bank, and I followed up with her, and she goes, "I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel right." And sometimes you can get into some hot water when you
Mhm.
change um, jobs, careers, companies, especially if you're offering some, non-compete, right? You almost always have signed a non-compete, and and um, even if the state that you're in, California, New York, Minnesota, some of those places, there's no teeth in non-competes. You leave, you can steal everything, and almost get in no trouble at all. It's really should be a crime. It should really be a crime, and it's not enough of a crime. Um, uh, when you take contacts, and sometimes you take contacts that aren't even yours. That's an we've had that happen. Yeah, it's really we trusted you, we gave you access, you stole that, and now you're a competitor. That's
Mhm.
not cool. We didn't end up in court. We sued the guy and we settled out, that whole thing. But you can get into that mess,
Mhm.
and I don't, I don't want to encourage people to do that. So anyway, so if you've got a bunch of contacts, you're changing something different, it's okay to change to something different. Just hopefully you all are already in contact with them, so it doesn't feel contrived now when you start trying to contact them about something else. And when you do start contacting them about something else, keep in contact, because this deal might not pan out. You might bounce again. And so stay in just make it it comes up in your calendar, and you calendar it. Make sure you
Mhm.
connect with these people, whether it's on the phone, it's an email. Just make sure you keep in contact with these people, so that when you change again and again, it doesn't seem contrived. Like, oh,
Mhm.
now I'm trying to get a hold of you to get this business, because now there's a different thing that I can sell to you.
Mhm.
Just there should be it helps establish trust and credibility when you do this. Oh, I'm doing this thing, and they go, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, but he switched um, companies, working for careers, whatever. Just I'd recommend doing it that way as best you can. Yeah, don't make it seem like it's from left field, and
Right.
that, oh, I see, you don't care about me for the last 10 years, but now suddenly,
Yeah.
because you sell something, you're in the this business, now you're on me, like a pack of rabid Dachshunds. No, no, no. That's have you ever had that happen to you?
Yeah,
Yeah. And how does it feel?
not good.
Not
Slimy.
good, not good, not good, not good, not good. And the chances are, if they just left something to go to this one, the chances are they're often when people move, they just didn't like the old job and they're trying to find something different. Usually it takes a couple hops, or often
Hmm.
takes a couple hops. So now when they're all after you about this first deal, nah, I'll wait and see how long this lasts. Uh,
Hmm.
I had a kind of a married in, so a shirt tail. How was what was the relationship? I had a married into the family brother-in-law. The brother-in-law's child from a different relationship contacted me and goes, "Oh man, I'm a financial planner now with whatever it was." He wanted me to he went to work for American Express financial advising, yada yada, and he said, "Oh, I've got some great blah blah blahs." Okay, and so I sent him 100 grand. So I thought, all right, well, let's see what the kid does.
Hmm.
And I hear from him once, and I got a hold of him. He goes, I'm not there anymore. Oh, okay. Hey, thanks. So how do I get my 100 grand back? Because I only did it because of you. Yeah. Hell darn it. So that was that was one of them I learned. Yeah. And of course I've done a couple of this along the way. I'm a slow learner, Ian.
So let's say that somebody's running a I don't know, like a consulting business, and they're asking themselves, should I send a monthly newsletter to my network? You know, and everyone's saying that email marketing is essential. Like, what would you tell them and why?
Everybody sends newsletters, right? And I think a lot of people send newsletters because a lot of people send newsletters. Not because it's a well thought out plan, but I think it's, well, this everybody does, therefore I should do it, which is, it's really good for lemmings because that's what they do, but they're furry little rodents, and unless you want to be a furry little rodent, think on your own. So I would go, well, what are we trying to accomplish here? Who are our clients? What are they looking for? How can I help best? We have an accountant who sends out a newsletter, and I've asked him, please don't. I appreciate you staying in contact with me, but you've known me for 15 years. Why send me a newsletter about mostly things that have nothing to do with me? And you know that dealing with me for 15 years, I find my time valuable, and I'm trying to accomplish these things. So maybe if there's something in the newsletter that you know is valuable to me, then send me the newsletter. But say, hey, most of this has nothing to do with you, but I thought you might be interested on the little item on page 4 down at the bottom right. It's about, I don't know, whatever it is, capital gains tax, in the state. But if you do something different, you could save, $80,000. Okay, well, I'm going to take a peek at that so I understand it. And then he might say, hey, if you have any questions, give me a jingle. So, but how do you do that if you've got 1,500 clients? How do you even know that? So so then you go, well, don't send a newsletter, or no, in your database, break your client types up into categories. Oh, this guy's in real estate. This is manufacturing. This is financial services. All these people have a little bit different interest. This one is also a real estate owner. That kind of thing. So for real estate thing, there's a new thing for real estate. It's here's what it is. Uh, um, we can talk about it next time we talk, or just something. If you have any questions in the meantime, give me a jingle. And of course, when you call them, they're going to charge you for the amount of time that you talk to them. It's just like any sort of, it's an accountant. They're a consultant. They charge for your time and for preparation of whatever the forms they're preparing. So you can queue it up to actually get people to call you about and have conversations. And now you're making however much you're making, you're $600 an hour or whatever you're overbilling it for, you know. So anyway, back to your question though was, um, people say that you want to email market, and I want to send a newsletter. I would absolutely not just send a blanket newsletter, because I think that's wasting people's time, because most newsletters have have all kinds of stuff, all kinds of different interests in it. There's, 4, 8, 10, 12 pages of stuff that what am I supposed to now look through all this stuff when my plate is already full? What are you sending this to me for? If you could clue me up, that would be great. Or just don't send a newsletter. Maybe break your clients down into groups, and I guess you can attach a newsletter, but just if here's a quarterly newsletter. Honestly, I don't think there's anything in here to tell you about, but I don't want to waste your time. Be honest with me. Help me. I would appreciate if you tell me there's nothing in there, but there's just general sort of things that are flowing around in the state. And you might find it interesting if you're thinking about other ventures or have other concerns. We can talk about what we talk about at the end of the quarter, like we usually do. That kind of thing. In the database that we built, or the contact manager we built, we have fields. What's your interest? What business are you in? What's your position? And so we can then go, hey, everybody who is a commercial real estate owner, attach the newsletter, but put this little message in. Hey, fill in the first name. Hey, John. There's some new things going on with commercial real estate, and if you're thinking about selling, you'd beware of this. It might help you in your strategy. We'll talk at the end of the quarter unless you want to sooner. I've attached our newsletter. There's, if there's nothing in it really, except on page 4, there's a little bit about this thing that I just mentioned. You can do all that electronic, just merging different pieces. I call it semi-custom messaging. Semi-custom messaging works slick. You have one thing that you send out to basically everybody, but the introduction and the conclusion is semi-custom based on, maybe you have 4, 5, 6 different types of targets. You don't have that many. There aren't that many. Back to like what we do in the credit card processing business, they're clients, there's prospects, there are those businesses that refer business to us, and within that there are a few different types. And so I might have 5. I usually, when I send out an email, I'm going to have about 5. I'm going to have the basic core of the message the same, but I'm going to have often subtly different, and sometimes 4 of them will get the same message. That's fine. I only have to come up with 2 or 3 different messages, because sometimes the way I write it just applies to everybody. Not everybody, but almost everybody. There's always a couple of variations in there, but it's so easy to do, and you look like you're being attentive to the recipient's needs, not just blanket sending something that's going to irritate. That they're probably not going to look at it anyway because they're already busy. They got to look at it later, and they never do. And then when you see they go, "Hey, did you read the newsletter?" And like, why would I do that on page 12? Why don't just tell me? So I've had this conversation with my accountant, and he looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" It's just the same guy who because they couldn't find new blood for their firm, they merged with another company who's a little more astute at communication and recruiting. Like I said, hey, if you want to find new blood, I love you, brother, but you look like everybody else. How did I find you? You were referred by George. Right. I was referred to you by somebody. I didn't find you in the sea of 1.3 million accountants out there. I got referred to you by somebody who really likes your work and knows me and figured that we'd be a good match. And he's looking at me like, I've got snakes crawling out of my eyes. Well, yeah, it's not how it's not. Well, yeah, it is. It's how you can find people too. Find people, accountants. Hey, if you like my work, if I keep my ear up and I go, hey, son of a friend of mine who is now an actuary. Hey, you know what? You might want to talk to this guy. I've been with him for 10 years. And so now he can, he doesn't have to go to all these places online and search for a million resumes of people who all they do is rapid fire, clicking, and so you get the resume and it doesn't even apply, because that's what it is today. You get somebody who has been recommended in, and so it works so well. It's not typical. It's not what's typically been done, which is fine. you know, I find also, if everybody's doing it, absolutely don't do it. If you look around and go, what's everybody doing? Like sending newsletters, don't do it. Because if you see most people doing it, it's never because of a good reason. It's just because everybody's doing it. And they go, well, that's what the cool kids are doing. That's what everybody's doing. That's how it's done. No, 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 no. The lemmings aren't running over the cliff because it's good for their health. They're just doing it because they're following all the rest of the lemmings, and that's kind of, and so before, so it's like, so often I'll go, well, why do anything? I mean, really,
Hmm.
do nothing, but make it on purpose if that's what you want to do. I mean, that's okay to do nothing, but do it on purpose. Be intentional, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And you can build too. You can build all kinds of these connections and build your business however you want to build it. And it's just a matter of like, hold on, what am I trying to achieve? And then reverse engineer and then just start building it out. If you want all your business to be recommended to you, then build it that way.
Hmm.
If you want to, but back to your original question about sending a newsletter, just firing it out to everybody, I absolutely would not do that for so many reasons. Like send it to somebody like me, and I'm going to think that whomever sent it is being very non-intentional about what they're doing, and also my time. You're trying to drag me off. Why? So their stock just went down, and I think, you know what? Maybe I need somebody different. And also that accountant that I've been talking about, they handle a lot less of our business today
Hmm.
than they did in the past. I've about a year ago, year and a half ago, started looking and found somebody different that I've been testing, and
Hmm.
they're no great shakes either. But but why you don't want your customers to start looking? You
Hmm.
don't. They go, I know you've got stuff in different states and it doesn't apply to the state I'm in, but it can still do the work. No, I'm still gonna look.
Hmm.
And so telling that firm that I'm moving more things away from, um, like my resident is in a different state, so I just think it's better. And they're like, oh, okay, they're buying the story. What the real story is as much as that, because today really it doesn't. You can use services and banking all over the country.
Hmm.
We're it's no longer, oh, I'm going to see the accountant down the street or the bank down the street. So I can use pretty much anybody anywhere in the country
Hmm.
licensed and to do law or accounting in whatever state you're dealing or and has the knowledge. But because of the things that they do, that mistakes that I found, time wasting, don't send me a newsletter. I started to look.
Hmm.
So I'd be awfully careful. I know we've covered a lot of ground there with that one question, but
Good.
it's when you do things, people look at you doing things. Like, why would they do that?
Hmm.
If you're somebody who's like walking, observing, like walking with wonder, like looking at things and going, oh, that's interesting how that works. Why would they
Hmm.
do that? Like, what was the philosopher long ago that said, question everything?
Hmm.
Which I believe. It's not like I go around thinking it's wrong, but I look at it and go, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they did it that way. And I go, oh, I see, because the rain goes off here and they don't want it to drip on there. Or over there, I go, why would they do it that way? Because now the wood rots. Oh, why would they send a newsletter and not tell me where to look?
Hmm.
Maybe, and I think, well, how would I, and then I look at, it's not like I'm criticizing, I'm wondering. And I think, okay, well, how could I do that? How can I do what I do in a way that helps what I'm looking
Hmm.
to use my time more effectively? So if I'm going to send out a newsletter, I'm going to go, hey, most of this doesn't apply to you, but there's this one thing that you might be interested in understanding a little bit more of, and we can talk about it later. I just thought I'd attach it because you might find it interesting. Talk to you soon. Love and kisses, John. you know
In a couple of the last episodes, both you and Chuck have had a strong reaction against pitching. And it seems like most sales training is built around pitches or presentations. Why is that approach fundamentally broken?
Again, depends on what you want to achieve. What kind of life and lifestyle do you want? Do you want what do you want at the end? And so instead of so when you pitch, there's not enough dialogue, there's not enough conversation, and so then you get the dreaded I need to think about it. And so when you just tell somebody, like pitching, presenting, telling, there's a saying, in when you're selling stuff, selling isn't telling, which means selling successfully isn't telling. Selling successfully is having a dialogue. Hey, asking questions, asking leading questions, because it doesn't matter what the answer to the question is. You already know where they're probably going to go, and you already know where you're going to go when they say that. But you want to be listening. You want to be just not listening, but you really want to be really engaged in what they're saying. Like, really have your mind on them and the conversation you're having. So that you can, so it's a good question, or it's a good conversation. You ever have a conversation with somebody on the phone and they're not paying attention?
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you go, well, and that's how, like, when you pitch somebody too, their brain goes, just starts shutting off, or they get distracted and they go, they don't even hear what you're saying. They miss a lot of what you're saying if you're just pitching, or if you're just pitching, if you're just presenting, or if you're just saying a script, or if you're just saying a script too. Hey, does that make sense, Mrs. Gonzalez? Uh-huh, yeah, okay. And so you're just waiting for them to answer, or for them to say no, because then you go, oh, okay, she said no at this part. Now my script is going to say, it's going to pop up and go, okay, here's a couple different things that I can read. Okay, Mrs. That makes sense to, it's like, just that's, I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but
Hmm.
you've heard it on the phone, and you go, gosh, this could go a lot better if you just be engaged with me. Just,
Hmm.
like, what am I trying to accomplish here? Where am I trying to go? And so if you ask those questions, and ask the right questions to understand what I'm trying to get, I'm going to, my perception is going to be, man, they're really helpful. Like, they're really
Hmm.
asking the right sort of questions. They go, oh man, let's check this out. Do you like this one or this one better? Okay, you want that. Okay, what about this? What makes more sense for you? Does it? So it's just leading. It's leading, and then at the end also, uh, uh, when we come down to, well, what do you think makes more sense? What works better for you? Does this one or that one? Oh, because then I've been engaged the whole way, and and at the end I'm also engaged, and I feel like I've been involved. I didn't get sold. I bought. Right.
Hmm.
There's a big difference. So when you engage with people, they feel more involved. When you have a
Hmm.
conversation with them, they're clearly involved in the conversation. And if it doesn't feel like a contrived conversation, they feel even better about it. And so you
Hmm.
want them to feel good, like, oh man, this person is helping me find what matters most to me, rather than just trying to sell me a TV or insurance, or whatever they're trying to sell me.
Hmm.
That's why it's a huge difference, and you've probably experienced it, being pitched versus a conversation. And you can probably remember a time that you've had a decent conversation, you bought something and it felt good,
Hmm.
and right. So
Yeah.
uh, versus the other way, we hate that. So, but they keep teaching it, not because it's the right thing to do, but you can teach it to a monkey. So hey, let's hire a troop of monkeys and give them a script, and you know those that don't work, they're probably not going to be back tomorrow. But
Hmm.
a couple monkeys work. Like, you can teach it to the least common denominator, and then you can send it to some third world nation, and they can say it too, and in a different, hopefully they can speak English and say the same thing. That's there you go. And
So
then,
when
so you can contrast that, or compare that, right?
yeah.
So now, if you're the pitchy, presenting sort of person, you're up against people who make $3 a week, in some third world nation, who can say the same thing that you can say. Is that
Hmm.
does that So now, are you going to get free doing that? Probably not. You might want to get a one-way ticket to, wherever that is, the third world nation where you're going to make $3 a week, because that's about what, that's the value you're providing. So go over
Hmm.
there, live there. Now you can pitch all you want.
When would a pitch, like a prepared pitch, be appropriate?
When would a pitch be? It's got to be something where it's just really fast.
Hmm.
It's got to be really fast and nobody really cares. The person standing in front of you is buying. It's just, do I want red or blue? Do you want the
Hmm.
red one? You want the blue one? You want cheese? You want a burger? You want cheese on that? Yes. Okay. Hit the cheese button. Do you want fries with that? Yeah. And that prompts you. Ask them if
Hmm.
they want fries. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Fries. I'll take fries. Do you want? Yeah. You want a Coke, or you want a drink to go with that? Or what kind of drink do you want? Lead them.
Hmm.
What kind of drink do you want with that? We've got Sprite, root beer, blah, 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 blah. I want Sprite. Okay, good. You know, Anything else? No. That's, $80. And there you go. So I would say that's about it. Other, it's got to be, they have to be buyers already. They have to be buyers
Hmm.
with money in their hand. That just give me what you have. Uh, because even like if you go into Best Buy or something like that, and I want a TV. I don't know anything about TVs, you
Hmm.
know, and maybe they would ask me, I go, what do you know about TV? I mean, what are you looking for? What do you know about TVs? How do
Hmm.
you decide Best Buy? Okay, got it. Okay. And then so now you can go, okay, well, when you're watching, are you up close? Are you sitting
Hmm.
back? How far from your TV are you? Is it above a fireplace? Is it not? Okay. Is this kind of thing important to you, or this? How much, you know, so so is- if I'm just standing in line at Best Buy with the TV, and they go, "Hey, do you want a warranty with that?" No. That's a place for a script.
Hmm. A couple episodes ago, you gave a example of the massage therapist, and
Yeah.
two ideas that came up. One was, should I raise prices? To how do you build passive income to eventually stop having to do massage? One is, kind of business growth, and the other one is taking the freedom, putting that freedom perspective on it. How do you evaluate business questions through that lens of freedom?
Every model is going to plateau with the time that it takes and the money you get out of it. And so what I want to do is freedom to me means, how can I, even if I love the work that I do, how can I build money and time? Meaning,
Hmm.
for me, I really like passive income. I don't recurring income just means you sell to the same people every month. You don't have to go out and find much new business unless they die, go to business, sell, leave, whatever. That's
Hmm.
recurring, and that's going to plateau by how many people you can talk to. Or can you set up different ways where you can talk to two people at once, or four people can order at the same time, or
Hmm.
you can provide the same thing to more people at one time. But still, you're investing. Uh, well, if I go, okay, I can deal with four people at a time. Uh, then do I cut my time down into 25%? So instead of this much time taking care of all these people, I can take care of the same amount and make the same amount of money in a fourth of the time. I would think about that. But the service business, like massage, is
Hmm.
that would be a tough business to get free from, I would say, because you probably got into the business. You're probably not thinking a lot about freedom getting into that kind of business.
Yeah.
And I get most people aren't looking at talking about freedom when they get into a business. So, but if I'm, so you asked me how do I think about it? This is, there are a lot of thoughts about it.
Hmm.
I probably wouldn't get into the business because I know it's not going to get me free. But people find themselves every day, everybody watching this finds themselves in whatever business that they're in. And they go, man, but I want to get free. Okay. So how do I turn this business into something that gets me more freedom? What I'm thinking is all right, how does he, and he's really good. I wouldn't go to him unless he was really good. uh, and I want to find the best product or the best service, right, for what I'm interested in, and he provides it. He doesn't charge enough. And 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 I think back to like video stores, long time ago, video stores,
Hmm.
when they sell or rent a VHS tape, it was 99 cents. And everybody in the world, everybody in the country was at 99 cents.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, why don't you charge more? Well, everybody would leave. Nobody would ever rent another videotape again. And so finally somebody, too much to drink, or, got a little happy one night and changed their pricing to, it's like $1.09 or $1.29 or something like that, which was a lot of profit, like from a buck to a buck. That's like, even at 9 cents more, 10
Hmm.
cents more, it's like you've got 11% free profit. And those bold souls who went to $1.29, really? You raised it 30 cents? 30 cents. They raised their profit, that means a little over 30%. I mean,
Hmm.
30.1%, right? And so they increased their profit, hopefully, unless everybody leaves. So it was a big roll of the dice, that 30 cents. And nobody changed. Everybody kept renting
Hmm.
the same amount of videos. And so then immediately everybody went to $1.29. And then they went to $1.99. Nobody cares. It wasn't that big of a deal. Like,
Hmm.
look, you're just next, down the street. I can go there. You've got all my favorite flicks, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Doesn't make any difference. And so I told him that story. And I go, well, what would happen just for fun? Just for fun. Imagine what if you doubled your fee? And what would happen? He goes, oh man, half my business would probably leave. Okay. So what would that mean to you in money? He goes, well, I'd be making the same money. And well, what about time? Well, I'd be working half time. I go, okay, so that frees up half your time and you're still getting the same amount. Well, yeah, but the whole yeah, but thing, I can never do that. I go, you know what? I'm not coming back next week. What? You go, look, until you raise your prices, I am not coming back. He goes, whoa. They go, well, hold on a second. Do you provide this? How'd you come about this price that you're charging? Well, I looked at the market and it's right in the middle. It's not too low. It's not too high. Like, okay, well, okay, I understand. Let me ask you, but what about the service you provide? Do you offer the same service that Trixie's Massage Parlor, where the people just got out of school and it's their first job and they're probably doing more harm than good, which charges the same amount as you, by the way. Do you provide the same level of service? Oh no, mine is so much better. I know, you know, whatever, deep tissue. I've
Hmm.
gone to Harvard Medical School and blah 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 which he did, which doesn't mean anything except but he continues. He's trying to find new ways and does like, oh, I just learned this thing and got this new tool or what. He's always doing something like experimenting. Like, how does this feel? Does this work? And I go, man, for me, that's super valuable. I want to do business. I don't care if you charge twice as much. I would be happy if you did. And if you don't raise your price by at least 20%, I will not come back. I'll find somebody who can do what you do and charge me more money. you know, he goes, well, yeah, but people are. You go, well, okay, but what? How do you find more people like me? How do you find more people like me who are interested in the end result, the quality that they're getting, not necessarily just getting a cheap massage?
Hmm.
So and I go, what? Okay, so let's say that you double your price and you fill your schedule back up. Not entirely, but let's say you double your price, you're making the same amount of money, and then you fill it up again. Maybe say you're working like 75% time, so you'd be making 50% more money, right? Is that right? Is my math right?
Yeah.
50% more money. What if you took that money, because you've been talking about, man, what if I break my arm or something? How do you use that money to get into something that's going to give you a passive income? Is there something that you can invest in that's going to give you a return? Let's say, I
Hmm.
don't know, something you can put it in the market that gives you 5% return. And how can you keep stacking that on to get more and more and more? Or you've been talking, oh man, you want to get into real estate. Okay, well, now you've got the extra money. So save
Hmm.
your money. So you have a down payment and then that extra money too that you've got, if you don't have a renter, you have the money to pay for it. And
Hmm.
and what if you started working on that? Go, look, let's, instead of thinking like this, what if we started thinking crazy? What if we used what you're doing to build where you really want to go? And now you've got a
Hmm.
story too. Oh yeah, I, you could be in the next, the that book Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the next guy. You've got a story now. You can tell your kids, right? Oh well, I did this, but what I really wanted was. Now you can be an example. You can be
Hmm.
an example to yourself. You can die with a smile, knowing, man, I didn't stick in that rut. I tested different things. I became, the massage therapist to people who really care about the quality that they're getting. CEOs and people that are golfers, or
Hmm.
these people with golf spend a fortune. Go find these people. They spend $500 golfing, and just to get all their back messed up. Charge them $150 to unwind what they did at the course. man, and now they're going to tell their friends. They're going to go, man, I feel so good driving. Bill, you look good swinging that club. Well, thank you, Tom. I got massage. Really? You think he had time to massage me? I don't know, man. His schedule's pretty busy, and he's also an investor on the side. Oh, really? You know, is that what do you want your story to be? So it
Hmm.
can be, it can be fun. You just need to get a little, look at this through a little different lens.